Welcome to a brand new season of Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to unequivocally figure out what the best movie is of any given year. This year, it's 1996, so cut your hair into the Caesar, throw on your Mary Janes, and start doing that Macarena, kids. Tonight, we're going to be taking 64 movies down to the 16 in contention for 1996's Movie of the Year. But before we do any of that, I kept saying I should probably introduce my panelists of the evening. Now, normally this will be a game show and points will be awarded, but right now we're all friends on the same side of the line in this together to determine what those 16 movies of the season will be. With me is the late great host of 1984's Movie of the Year. It's Ryan.
Thank you so much, Mike, for having me back. You lost so many game shows last season that I thought that I may be disinvited from here.
No, I decided to win the only way I can this season is become the host. Now I
do have
never
a question.
lose.
I have a question real quick. Just as a host and a public speaker, a man about town, a vagabond, when you say we... You're roustabout, of course. Rake?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
You ever see him collect leaves?
When you say we and you mean you, do you usually go with, or if somebody else does that to you, do you usually go with, is there a mouse in your pocket? Or, okay, Venom?
I say, is there a venom in your pocket? Okay, mouse.
That's, 1-2 punch right there.
Remix!
Chicka chicka boom. That remix, that young whippersnapper you heard, that's Greg.
It's me. It's Greg. I'm ready to do this, Mike.
Now, let us all. We've been in the 1984 haze for so long, so we should pray.
We should say a little prayer before.
And that haze switches directly to marijuana instead of all of the cocaine that we were doing.
Yeah, that was a haze of cocaine from the amount of clapping we did on chalk tables. But everybody knows that weed was super in the 90s. Everybody was doing it.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you
what's more 96?
Like
meth?
Yeah. That's when meth really took hold of the country. Molly? No, that's the 2000s. E. I think the kids were calling it E then. Esports was something totally different.
Yeah, E. That's what all the stickers would say. They look like it said 1, but really what it said was on E.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to spend this season watching these movies on the wrong drug. So
Exactly.
I want to know, I want to be time specific here. What should I be on if it's 1996?
Obviously, kids, don't do drugs. Obviously, right?
Well,
if you are going to do drugs, a good one is ecstasy. Though.
Sure.
Think about that.
Wait. Am I in the pop filter screening room where we watch these together, am I going to have to wheel in a hookah? Is that what 1996 was? And cigars? Fucking cigars?
Oh, yeah. We're going to call everybody baby. You're so money. But no, I do think we should all follow in the footsteps of late 90s. If you were young Mike Icon, Brooke Burke, and get wild on E.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was, wow. Give yourself some points next episode for that.
Remember you said that, buddy.
Not the punchline. The runway was just Fast 5. 6? Fast 6.
What does 1996 mean to you guys? Let's talk about the trends we assume will happen in our movies. The predictions.
High school, baby.
Greg was a high school baby.
All high school movies?
Oh, man. I was in high school. I was in high school hard.
Prime, if you're the kind of guy we all were in high school, prime movie consuming years.
End of my freshman year, beginning of my sophomore year, 1996, Greg was in high school.
Wow.
I was 4, but I had a job.
D40.
I was WD-40. Nothing squeaked over here. And so I had a job at a video store, multiple video stores, probably. So I have seen more movies in this year maybe than any other year in Hollywood's existence. I think that the big thing we're going to notice throughout tonight and the year is the Pulp Fiction, the post-Pulp Fiction, and I don't just mean that like fast-talking criminals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean everyone has a like indie studio arm of the major studios, and everybody's trying to win Sundance, and this is sort of when Sundance movies became a thing. Like you could just watch a movie and say, oh, that's a Sundance movie, even if you don't know where it came from. Miramax movie. All of these
smear of Vaseline on the camera.
Right. It was almost like the tech boom when everybody was getting money to build shit that nobody wanted. That this is sort of now for that. Like, we're just going to give everybody $3 million to go out and make something.
Yeah. Oh, those were the days. We could have been kings, but we were all children of varying years.
Yeah, nobody wanted to give me $3 million to make a movie. I was too busy playing Command and Conquer, 1996.
Now, given the age and our familiarity, can we say scientifically that 1996 is a good or bad year for film?
Mike, every year is a good year for film.
I was going to say, is there a bad year? I can't wait till we get to like, I don't know.
No, that
I can't even think of a year.
Didn't we kind of have a season that was a failure to launch, like 2014?
Yeah, but
a bad year at
but
the
that
movies.
was because we were so close to it.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it because it was 2014 when we did that, and that doesn't work. But no, I do think that it's going to be top heavy like every year is. I think that, and it's going to be great. It's going to be the greatest year we've ever done. Many people are telling me, but I think that the other thing I've noticed while on Google Hill thinking of the movies of this year, the other thing that's so different is that we were getting 2 or 3 studio movies a week.
Yeah,
and now it's a month. And like I wrote down, this is in December. These are the movies that came out from studios that I don't think will even make the bracket. So The Mirror Has Two Faces, Set It Off, The War at Home, Daylight, The Preacher's Wife, Citizen Ruth, In Love and War, One Fine Day, Michael, My Fellow Americans, Evita, Marvin's Room, The Evening Star, Mother, The Portrait of a Lady. All of those were big budget movies with stars. Okay.
At this time, I would go see one movie at the movie theater with my friends every week, and I would go see a different movie at the movie theater with my parents.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, it was. So it was.
And that one movie that you saw with your friends, you might see 1 or 2 after that as well.
Yeah, totally. So it was just
for free,
so much more. And not to be this guy, but like relative to what they cost now, tickets were a lot less expensive and concessions were a lot less expensive, but especially tickets. If you were just going to buy a ticket and go see a movie, it felt like it cost almost nothing.
A matinee was like
$3
$5 back then.
Yeah. And my stepdad still filled his JanSport with popcorn and candy and 2-liter bottles of soda. What a loon.
I think what's interesting though about that list that I just read, I remember when each of those came out, and saw most of them probably in theaters, but just because of the fact that I've heard of them, I don't know if it makes sense for them to be like. It makes sense that they're not on the bracket because there were so many movies. Most of them just aren't talked about anymore.
So little cultural footprint, right?
Right, and it's because it was a time where you could, if you and your sister and your mom and your dad went to the movie theater at 6, there was a movie for each of you.
Yes,
you guys could split up because there was
high five in the middle, walk separate ways.
In the middle of the movie, just everybody run out at the hour mark. But like every genre was in the theaters every single day of the week, and
they felt different, not just in like a range of quality, right? But each of those movies felt different, and not to be an old guy, but all movies feel the fucking same now.
Can I tell you one way in which they all did feel the same though? They were. All these movies of 96, horny as fuck. Sometimes we get years that are unhorny, and sometimes we get years that are horny. I thought 84 was kind of particularly a unhorny year.
Unhorny?
This year is horny as heck. Even the movies that have no right to be horny, there's just a little bit of horny thrown in there.
My film student 101 take is The Two Towers that got knocked down in 2001 was America's penis, and we have not been horny since. Certainly not in cinema. Our twin dicks are no longer.
That's such a bummer.
Maxim magazine has been canceled.
Oh, I miss Maxim.
The horniest of all magazines.
And not like culturally, like it got canceled. Like, the magazine just got canceled.
They no longer print it.
They didn't do anything problematic.
I remember looking forward to the 100 hottest girls every month or every year, as if it was the TV Guide edition where it had this new Saturday morning lineup.
The Coyote Ugly.
Oh, Coyote Ugly! What a big deal! Is that not 96?
I know it's not. It's a few years later, but I had there's the Coyote Ugly special edition Maxim that I had.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Oh, it was heavily featured in my first apartment. Two movies I wanted to bring up because again, I don't expect them to make a bracket, but it's this type of like we're gonna spend about 20, we hope to make about 40 million, and that was just okay back then. Executive Decision with Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal, and The Ghost in the Darkness with Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. These are two movies that we were so fucking hyped for that I have not heard a single person talk about since 1996.
Is Ghost in the Darkness the one where they're like a lion?
They're lion hunters, yeah.
Dude, come on. Yeah, so that's probably not even going to be on the bracket.
I would be shocked if if we doubled the numbers of the movies, it wouldn't be on the bracket.
96 has so many bangers.
Speaking of movies that don't deserve to be on the bracket, this year we each got to put 2 into the slate for the running. Let's all go around and wax poetic about movies we will certainly not be watching this season. Greg, let's do the one that's like, maybe it's not the best movie, but God damn it, movie is so Greg.
Okay, for me, that is the movie Stealing Beauty with Liv Tyler. It's about a young woman coming of age and she's like on a family vacation in Tuscany in Italy, and Italy's so beautiful, and Liv Tyler's so beautiful in this, and it made a big impression on 1996 Greg, who again was a freshman and sophomore in high school, and saw Liv Tyler in this movie and was just like, I will love you forever, Liv Tyler. And as we'll talk about when we get to That Thing You Do, anytime an actor, even in a role, is disrespectful to Liv Tyler, I will hate them forever.
And I believe all 3 of those Aerosmith videos are on this bracket too, right?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. She was in the Aerosmith videos, her dad's music videos, where she was, and like not like she has a weird relationship with her dad, right? Kind of like estranged. And then he's like, "Hey, would you come be like very sexy in 3 of my music videos?" Yeah.
A lot of stuff has come out about him recently too. That
fun.
No,
that's one.
What?
Yeah, that's one where you're like, not to be this guy, but like that's not super surprising. Not that you can ever tell or anything like that, but like. That many bandanas.
Yeah, he wore so many bandanas.
What are you hiding?
The Jack Sparrow of rock and roll.
And then my like more serious Pinky in the Air movie is Big Night. Stanley Tucci, Tony Shalhoub vehicle about really about cooking, running a restaurant, and it not quite going very well, but the sort of like beauty of cooking and what cooking can communicate. And I love food. I'm not a huge fan of cooking, but I feel like the movie captures the beauty of that. And it's just kind of a nice, small, simple story that exalts in the small, simple things and is very, very pleasant.
How often do Tony or Stanley say, "Hold on, let him cook"?
Honestly, 7 or 8 times.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty nice. Yeah.
Ryan, turning to you, what is your thumb up your butt? This is a Ryan movie.
Oh, I could not believe that Lone Star was not going to be on this bracket. And again, this is just how weird it is to be a fan of movies back then and think that the movies that we were fans of back then will be watched forever. It's just not the case. This is a John Sayles movie that it sounds reductive to say Coen Brothers-esque, and it isn't stylistically, but it is in its simplicity. It's blood simplicity, if you will. It's just a a mystery in like a Western town that it takes place, in 96, but it sort of might as well not. It's just in one of these like very low populated towns, and when there's a murder that goes down, it just works differently back then. But it's sort of got and I think Big Night is a lot like this. I think that a lot of the movies we're going to talk about tonight, or I bet they will have this where like it's got genre, maybe not aspirations, but there's tropes, but it doesn't necessarily look or feel like it. It's a little bit more straightforward. And whether that's because of budget or whether I think that a lot of these directors are saying there are things I want to use about the genre, but I don't necessarily want it to look like it. I want the snobbery of Sundance or Cannes to come and see the movie and not have it be full of blood and guts and aliens, but there's still stuff I want to steal from those things, you know?
For sure. My first movie is Blood, Guts, and Aliens. Ryan,
Ooh,
so-
awkward.
That's your thumb up the butt movie. What's your Pinky in the Air movie?
My Pinky in the Air movie is Tin Cup. Again, I talk about this movie all the time. I don't know how it's not talked about more. We use it as a term amongst the three of us. Mike, do you remember what it means?
It, of course, means... Greg?
To like push something way too far until it's clearly like not working anymore, ruining everything.
Yeah, but then not then saying, you know what, I fucked up. I'm going to go and do it the easier way or the way I should have
Yeah,
done.
you do it harder and
You
harder.
just keep
right?
doing it harder and harder. That's your tin cupping. And I fucking love this movie. It's Ron Shelton, the guy who did Bull Durham and White Man Can't Jump. It's Costner, star of probably
Bull Durham,
movie of the year's 2024 best movie, Horizon, and American Saga Part 1. I hope we get Part 2 this year. Keep your fingers crossed. I just want Costner to cook. Just let him cook, guys.
Let him cook. Listen to Tony and Stanley. My thumb up the butt movie is saw it in theaters. I loved it. We didn't get a lot of... It wasn't always cool to be into dragons, guys. I know that's hard to believe that kids would get bullied back in the day. But I was ahead of the curve, and I loved a little film starring Sir, and if he isn't, that's a travesty, James Bond himself, Sean Connery as a dragon. It's Dragonheart.
Dragonheart.
An actor who I'd grow to love and forget his name and then remember his name and forget his name. But I believe it's David Thewlis.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis.
No,
David Cthulhu.
It's Thewlis.
David Thewlis. As just such a good little prick. He's such a vain little prince.
Little veiny little prick.
And I bet it looked great then. Who knows?
And this stars British knight currently and from back in the day, Dennis Quaid, right? Isn't he the star of it?
He might. Yes, he is. I forgot about the human. I remember the dragon and the villain.
I know there's a dragon.
Protagonist. The heart, if you will, of the movie is Dennis Quaid, who will never do anything wrong and never dishonor his son's new career.
Reagan in theaters August 30th, by the way.
Reagan.
Starring Dennis Quaid.
And it's going to show what a terrible guy he was.
No, I think he's been on that path for a long time. No, Dennis Quaid is a terrible guy.
Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan, probably not. Mike, I may have switched where fingers go and where, so I may have told you the wrong movies at the wrong time. So I apologize for that.
That's fine. I don't care where your fingers or your thumbs or fingers.
Yeah,
I
not our
appreciate that.
business, honestly.
I couldn't tell. And then
That's on you then.
Pinky in the Air movie. I mean, I definitely knew this when I was in third grade when it came out. It's kind of a modern feminist take on Cyrano de Bergerac. It's Truth About Cats and Dogs with Janine Garofalo and Uma Thurman, and they together become one woman dating this man, which is totally not problematic to do to somebody. And but it made me fall in love with both of them and continued the rest of my life of loving both of them and how I date, and it's fucked up.
I love the idea that 1996 Janine Garofalo is not hot enough to be the girl herself.
I mean, not but 3 years later, she would become the Bowler in the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, I remember that movie being okay. I'm shocked that it's now in the bracket, so thank you for that, Mike. But as far as getting 1996 right, we have like an off-kilter rom-com. Let's get Janine Garofalo and Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Yes, this is how we do things back then.
96 AF. So that's what we're jamming in here. We're going to take the quickest break, and when we come back, start these battles that will hurt so dearly. All right, taste buds, let's do this. Round 1, battle 1. Your number 1 seed, Fargo, up against your 64th seed, Shine.
Shine is a perfect example of a movie that was such a big deal back then. Like, came out of nowhere. We were introduced to Jeffrey Rush. It was nominated or won several awards, and then nobody talked about it ever again. People talk about 32 short films about Glenn Gould more than they do Shine.
I'm always talking about 32 short films about Glenn Gould.
Is it about a neurodivergent artist?
Piano player with like a rough dad. And I mean, How many times or how many seasons in a row do we have to have a movie about a neurodivergent piano player with a rough dad?
I feel like in the 90s there were a lot of these.
Yes. I mean, the biopic that like it's supposed to be hard to watch because it's slow, hard to watch because there's hard stuff happening, and then we all applaud and cry at the end.
Yeah.
Is it a biopic?
I don't remember.
About Jack
I don't
Shine?
know. Jack Shine, who ate no fat,
Yeah.
and his wife ate no lean.
Mm-hmm.
But dang, Fargo.
Yeah,
But dang,
Yeah.
Fargo. Sometimes
remember
you go up
Fargo?
against a literal wood chipper.
Fargo. When you look at the movies of 1996, there's a few that feel like absolute locks to make the final bracket, and
Yeah.
Fargo certainly seems like one of them.
When Ryan was describing one of his favorite movies, he was saying this person just blatantly rips off the Coen brothers. So I think
did not say that. I
think
specifically
that's what
did
I
not
heard.
say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you could get the actual Coen brothers, I don't know, do that.
Why not? Treat yourself to a Coen brother or two.
Does anybody want to say anything more about Shine?
I remember thinking already, like, all right, I'm sick of this Miramax bullshit. And
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Yeah. I remember the very recognizable box art.
Mhm.
Like Jeffrey Rush, like T-pose. Yeah.
Like a Christ figure.
Maybe a little bit, Ryan. Hang on. Watch the movie and you tell me. But I think there might be a little bit something in there.
The description on IMDb says pianist Jesus Cristo, driven by his father and teachers, has a breakdown. So
maybe it is a biopic, but with a modern twist. I'm taking a guy from a couple thousand years ago and putting him in 1996. Well, let's vote. Ryan?
Fargo.
Greg?
Shine. No, it's Fargo.
Fargo, fuck yourself, moves on. Round 1, battle 2. It's Ryan's thumb movie?
Thumb. This is the thumb. Because the
Versus-
thumb is you're dumb, right?
The thumb goes
Yeah.
in your butt, and that's That's
Thumb
bad
up
in
the butt,
this.
pinky in the air.
yeah.
Everybody smell your fingers like you just don't care.
Wow, the first square dance rap. I love it.
I mean, thumb in the butt you do for yourself, right?
Yeah.
But pinky in the air you do to show other people you're fancy. So I guess I
Exactly.
think that does make sense.
Also, I thought it was thumb in the butt, pinky in the stinky. You've got two
That's just-
fingers up there. Give a little winky. Hey, new listeners. Thanks for tuning into this show.
Well, all that is to say, your 32nd seed is Tin Cup, and your 33rd seed is Bottle Rocket, which would go on to make a little man pretty famous eventually.
Luke Wilson.
When was the last time y'all have seen the Bottle Rocket?
It's been a while.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh.
When we only had like Rushmore and Bottle Rocket, you would kind of watch Rushmore a few times and then be like, let's go check out Bottle Rocket. But now there's so many more.
The the arc of Wes Anderson's career is a little bit, you could say the same thing as it's the lessening of Owen Wilson throughout his career to the point where, like, by Grand Budapest, I don't think they were working together anymore. Bottle Rocket is just Owen Wilson. Just going, wow, Bottle Rocket, I like it.
Wow.
Cool.
I'm gonna be a
I
Drillbit
s-
Taylor someday.
But I have to say, having said all that, I have very positive feelings toward it.
Positive enough to rip Ryan's thumb right out of his little anus?
I mean, what are the are the rules that I have to vote for Tin Cup?
No.
You don't have to.
We never do stuff like that. No.
I mean, I know that I don't legally have to, but will that be looked down upon by my sports movie
Not me.
legion?
Whenever
yeah. All the Ringer guys are gonna fucking.
Oh yeah, the Ryan backers in the audience, it'll feel like a major capitulation.
Oh, how
To
can we say
them.
Greg heads with such earnestness, but when we say Ryan backers,
Well, you
it's
gotta-
like
what-
sarcasm.
what
the
do you
Greg
think
heads
you're-
get it.
Yeah, the Greg heads get it. What do you want your fans to be called?
I just
The Rhinos?
look. We all know that we put these movies in. Yes, the Rhinos,
Okay.
They're Ryan
because
and
they're
name
Republican and name only.
They're-
When we put these movies in, they were not on the bracket. Usually,
They
that's
were
for a
not.
reason. So,
Yes.
yeah,
I already had my chance to talk about Tin Cup. It was
Yeah.
one of the most thrilling moments of my entire life.
exactly.
I'm going to keep talking about it through the entire show because that's tin cupping.
exactly.
I'm just going to keep pushing it through. But Bottle Rocket's is a really important movie.
yeah.
If Bottle Rocket moves on, the rest of the season, you could just bring up Tin Cup every episode and tell us how we fucked up, and Tin Cup would have blasted whatever movie we were watching and how it could have made it.
Mike, that does not sound like me at all. I don't know
And
where you're getting this.
Instead of making us watch it and have us go, oh, yeah.
Bottle Rocket may go up against stiff competition in the next round, but this is not ultimately stiff competition.
I don't
for
think
it.
so.
No.
What was the movie that I was so pissed about? Do you guys even remember? It was like 74 season?
Yeah. It was instead of the reggae movie about Jimmy
Cliff.
Tookie Bookie.
Oh,
You
The
were
Heart of the
Tookie
Company.
Bookie.
Tookie Bookie.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that.
So the Tookie Bookie rule that we're starting in the 1996 season is that ultimately I get 2 or 3 votes.
If
per
Ryan
round.
becomes incensed, we could also call it the after sun rule.
Yeah.
If Ryan goes full rage mode, then we're
Which,
like, okay.
even though I'm not the one who voted against it, I'm blamed for that.
You are the one that voted against it, and I'm glad that you both had 2 examples.
Why did I bring this up?
Yes. You want to watch it happen, don't you? All right, it's time to vote. Greg?
What are my choices again? I'm sorry.
Bottle Rocket
After
and Tin
sun.
Cup.
Oh, Bottle Rocket.
After Sun or Tookie Bookie? Yeah, it's Bottle Rocket.
All right, Bottle Rocket moves on.
Bara.
Let's keep treating Ryan's balls like a speed bag. It's his next movie. Your 16th seed is Lone Star versus your 49th seed, Fear, a movie I always confuse with Primal Fear and Cape Fear. Is this the Mark Wahlberg Fear?
This
This
is
is
the
Mark
Marky
Wahlberg,
Mark
yeah.
one, right? Yeah. I think there's only one thing anybody knows about this, right? Which is that Marky Mark finger
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then smells it.
on the roller coaster, right?
I believe it's on a roller
Is
coaster.
he the one
yeah.
who did that
Man.
for the first time?
It's so rough when you're a teen. You have to find somewhere, and sometimes it's a roller coaster.
I mean, I think all teen love is a roller coaster, Greg.
But then he breaks kind of bad, right, Ryan? I mean, we should say that he exhibits a lot of behavior that I think we're not.
He goes
Wait,
from the character
that's
that he
one
was
of his
playing to the
good
real Mark
behaviors?
Wahlberg.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's him being like very alluring. And from there, it gets pretty bad. I have no interest in seeing this movie.
He at some point he punches an Asian guy's eye out. It's just craziness. The third act is when he really becomes Marky Mark.
Wait, didn't he just do that?
Yeah,
Are
in
you
real
confusing
life.
reality in movies now?
I always do, baby. That's what
And
I
the
call
next-
bad vibrations.
Is non-Coen Brothers cool modern western?
I wish I had never said that, Mike. I apologize to John Sayles most of all. It's an incredible movie in its own right. I was just trying to speak dumb to you, but
Yeah.
I
Please do. Goodness.
It's a
That's
great
what
movie
we
and it-
understand.
Yeah.
think, and it stands on its own.
All right, it's voting time. Greg,
I'm going Lone Star.
Ryan.
I'm going with the best character from Spaceballs, Pizza the Hut.
Lone Star moves on, which I don't want to
Lone
watch
Star.
Fear either.
Yeah. I've never had any interest in that movie at all.
Your next battle is your 48th seed, Ransom, which is Mel Gibson.
It's Mel Gibson, Ron
Yes,
Howard.
sir. Give me back my son.
Give me back my son.
Yeah.
If this was, if we called movies like I'll Never Tell instead of whatever the fuck that movie
Yes.
was called that nobody knows, this movie is
I'll Never
called Give
Tell
Me
is
Back My
actually
Son.
called Don't Say a Word, which feels that's so interchangeable.
Then yeah, that's this movie. And again, this is probably Mel Gibson backlash of which he deserves, but had incredible, like big hit. Everybody loved it. It's a really good movie. Has not been talked about
No.
since 1998, probably.
The only Mel Gibson movie people are allowed to talk about these days for some reason is Daddy's Home 2.
It's a classic.
I don't know
Ron-
why.
Ron Howard, who made this movie, let us not forget, also made Hillbilly Elegy a couple years ago.
That's true.
Bummer.
Uh,
You know,
this movie-
what movie my mom just recommended I watch?
What movie, Mike?
It's Hillbilly Elegy, Greg.
Hill Bill L. Wow. Very interesting. Ransom is a kind of dour movie. It is very much centered on child kidnapping and on like the extreme,
Yes.
like terrible emotions that brings out in people.
It's Prisoners for the 90s, right?
Oh my
I feel like
God.
those
Yeah,
movies have a lot of
exactly.
shared genetic code.
Holy cow. Prisoners.
But I have to say, hell of a twist that was the entire marketing plan. Like all of the previews were just centered around the twist, at the 90-minute mark where he said, this is the closest you will ever get to this money.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to pay it to whoever kills your fucking ass.
Oh, that's
Which is
dope.
dope.
It
All
is
right,
dope,
it's
but
going up.
they gave it away in the previews,
Yeah,
right?
don't-
Yeah.
And then the Hulk came out, and we already knew.
Do you know what I love? Trailers that are 2 hours long. They give everything away, and they're called movies.
It's going up against 17th seed. And to quote one of my favorite voicemails from one of my favorite people is, "Hi, this is Jerry Maguire. Show me the message." Now, Greg, can you guess whose voicemail that was for years, or do you remember?
Is it Ryan?
It was Ryan.
I have no recollection of that.
Show me the message.
I think when we met, and then for like 8 years after that was your voicemail.
We should point out we met long after 1996.
So many years after 1996. But my impression was flawless of that voicemail.
Yeah, the very earnestness too. Show me the message.
It's a perfect Tom Cruise, I think, that you just did. Am I wrong here in saying that this movie Rules is underrated and should be talked about more? It's a sports movie, but it's not. It's Tom Cruise, which not a lot of people love.
This is awesome. This is a great movie. This is going to be one of those where we think we remember how good it is, and then when we watch it deeply for the show, we get even more excited about it. I think there's there's some clunkiness to it, but I don't know. I think we're going to have a good time with this one.
All the clunkiness is every head in there, and as we learned from this movie,
8 pounds. Yeah,
every human head weighed 8 pounds, so that's going to clunk.
Yeah, sometimes they're just bashing up against each other. But yeah,
especially
show me the money
scene in the beginning, and this is burning my head because my parents watched this because they thought it was a heartwarming movie, and there's like a railing sex scene in the first 5 minutes, and I was 10 watching this movie, and they were like, that's not how sex actually is, and I was like, I didn't know that.
They said this is how it is.
She said something that is burned into my memory, which is he's railing her, right? He's got her up against the wall and he's banging her, and she says, "If you ever want me to be with another woman for you, I will be." Wow, that sunk in so deeply into my memory.
I'm not into it. I mean, I did, of course, had a phase in college, but everybody else did. Again, if you want me to do it for you, I will.
Yeah, and which I hope if we do this movie, I hope we talk about this, because that's part of the movie being like, this woman's not fit. That's the nicest thing she could possibly say, and the movie's kind of clowning her with it, kind of being like, this is how we know she is inferior to Renee Zellweger
because she's not fit.
Because the movie is like making her seem overly sexual when that happens.
Oh yeah, of course. That's played by the late great Kelly Preston, who did have sex in this movie, but went on to marry John Travolta, so never had sex in her own marriage.
Not even with all his braids when he was doing Battlefield Earth.
Not even then, Mike.
Not even during the Battlefield Earth times, Ryan. Come on, he was fucking then, right?
The only thing he would say to her is that you're just simply not as wickedly talented as Adele Dazeem.
Get me Adele Dazeem. I don't want excuses. I want Adele Dazeem.
It's very sad that she had to watch him say about another woman he could eat that peach for hours, but not her.
Oh, God.
All right, it's voting time. Are we doing Jerry Maguire or Ransom, Ryan?
Jerry Maguire.
Greg?
Jerry Maguire, Mike.
Jerry Maguire moves on. I'm going to try to... There's no way I could find that voicemail. It was never on my phone.
Yeah.
It's an outgoing message. I don't know what you're...
Didn't even need to be said.
Now, if you call Ryan's number, it's like, this is Ryan. I'm a professional person.
Oh, there's no... I haven't done an outgoing message in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Ringtones and outgoing messages have been dead for so long. Okay, Battle 5 in round 1 is your 8th seed, Lahane. Up against 57th, that's pretty low. Welcome to the dollhouse.
Well, this is the most 1996 battle there is.
What is Lahane?
Lahane is a French movie about 3 gentlemen. The boys' night out, except it is the day after a riot. One of their 4th member of their little gang was put in the hospital for the police beat the shit out of him, but to the point of almost death. And so they're just walking around town trying to deal with what happened the day before. And one of them got a gun from a store called Chekhov's, I think is where he bought it. And he says that if his friend ends up dying from the injuries from the cop, he's going to go find a policeman and shoot him. And it is, it's a rough watch, but it's absolutely incredible filmmaking.
Can I move what it's fighting right now? Because that sounds awesome. But I want to do Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Yeah, Welcome to the Dollhouse is one that I think, again, it was one of those movies that I thought we would talk about forever. It didn't really happen. Todd Solondz has gone on to some acclaim. Like, he was hot for a while, let's say. Happiness is one of my favorite movies. But this movie just disappeared, too.
And this is, no, is that Ghost World? I'm confusing it with Ghost World. What's Welcome to the Dollhouse?
Yeah, what is Welcome to the Dollhouse?
Preteen or young teen girl who is, dorky and glasses and bad hair and just trying to get through life. Dawn
Coming
Wiener?
of age.
Oh, her.
Wiener,
she
I think,
would go
is
on to be in Princess Diaries.
Yeah. And just make appearances everywhere. Had a stint on Roseanne for a little while.
What is the more 96 of those two movies? Probably Welcome to the Dollhouse, right?
I don't think so. I think Lahane is I think that Lahane is everything that year was building up to. And then in so many ways, everything that has come after it. I think that it is, the guy had, I can't remember the director's name, but he had a really rocky Hollywood career after this. It was like Babylon AD with Vin Diesel.
Oh, wow.
And remember when Vin Diesel just had all those movies that no one saw?
Yeah.
Like the Last Witch Hunter or whatever.
XXX.
And then he made Gothica with Halle Berry.
Oh, wow.
So it was rough. But this movie alone proves that he is an all-timer. And I just think that Welcome to the Dollhouse is old now.
Let's do it. Let's Lahane.
Yeah, Lahane sounds like one of those movies that so many times Greg and I have no idea, and then we're gonna be like, "This is gonna win." This movie
I'm
is so
all
good.
about Lahane, guys. I am Lahane pilled for sure.
Lahane pilled.
But I mean, 8th seed, right? I mean, that says something that if we haven't been talking about it, somebody has. Many people have.
Many people are talking about it.
I gotta stop saying that.
It's one of Ryan. You started as a bit, now it's just. Get that bandage off your ear, man. So Lahane moves on. We don't need to vote. We don't need to go.
No. Voting's no longer necessary. Thanks, Mike.
You never have to vote again. You beautiful,
my beautiful
Christians.
Christians. My beautiful X-Men.
Come to me, my beautiful Christians.
Your 25th seed is A Time to Kill. And it's going against your 40th seed, Star Trek First Contact, which I think rips ass.
Well, this is an easy one, right?
What's The Time to Kill?
Time to Kill, John Grisham. This gave us Matthew McConaughey. Sandra Bullock is in it. And, of course, Samuel L. Jackson saying he's on the stand for killing the rapist of his, 10-year-old daughter.
And he did it, kind of in broad daylight.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, this is, third-degree murder.
Yeah.
And
he shoots him, on the courthouse steps.
Right. Which, the guy was
That's very convenient in terms of they're like, all right, good, just grab him now.
Right in here. Come on, buddy, right through these doors.
You're super under arrest.
But his lawyers, want to get him off and want him to go free. And then he answers one of this is the trailer line. This is the I'll never tell line. It's like, yeah, I did it and I'll do it again.
Yeah, dude. That was a major soundbite of 1996.
First of all, Sammy J, can't do it again. They're dead.
I have to say, Mike, and this might put me on your shit list for this season. I just rewatched Star Trek First Contact. I remember being very good, and it's a super cool extended episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. It's not really shot like a movie.
No, they don't do that with these
Star
Trek movies.
The director's Jonathan Frakes, and I was so excited when I saw that. Oh, hey, good for him. But he doesn't quite know how to make a movie, it feels like, having only made TV before that, to the best of my knowledge.
I do like Star Trek First Contact, but I realize, even though I said the title, when I said it rips ass, I was thinking about Generations. So
oh yeah, and Star Trek Generations is very cool. That might be a different story, but
is Jonathan Frakes the guy who hosted that weird alien show?
Yeah.
There's
so many great clips. Yeah.
You thought that? You thought wrong.
You thought wrong.
Do you remember
when he cycles up and says one? On a bike.
He's just on a Segway floating towards you. Do you remember when Conan had that Walker Texas Ranger lever and he could pull it and show a clip?
Yes.
I feel like you could do that with Jonathan Frakes hosting that show. I've never seen a clip of the actual show. Just him saying the weirdest shit
wrong.
as a host.
There's a big supercut of just wrong.
Yeah.
I know,
wrong.
Jonathan. That's why we're watching the show.
Yeah. Did you think that? Well, you thought wrong.
All right, so it sounds like A Time to Kill is moving on.
It really does, yeah.
But First Contact, that's the one with the Borg and the Romulans.
It is fun,
cool,
yeah.
but it's not a movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm very excited. Your seventh battle. It's number 9, a movie that I always got confused with another movie we always talked about, Primal Fear.
Okay.
And it's going up against Beavis and Butthead. I assume the rest of this says Do America.
Do America.
All right, this is my first rough battle of the night. This is fucked up, dude.
This is the movie that confirmed that Beavis and Butthead masturbate. The show had never.
Was a question before that?
The show had never really like touched on the topic at all. The movie definitely engaged with it.
Just like how the Simpsons movie had to show that Bart had a wiener.
They did not have to show that.
Well, I loved it. I think both of these movies are not only spectacular, but 96 as fuck. So we have Beavis and Butthead, obviously, and then Edward Norton's performance.
Yeah,
if you've never seen it, as just a simple boy who remains simple.
And the movie is already interesting and engaging, and then near the end there are revelations that make it that feel classic. You know, like that reflect on the movie in such a way that you remember it as maybe even a better experience.
I'm sure we talked about
Very
this
strong ending
when we did The Verdict, because we didn't do A Few Good Men, but The Verdict, which is 1980, so that's a long time ago. But don't you guys miss movies that were just one court case?
Hell yeah, dude! I want to do a whole season. I want to do the season of A Few Good Men just because of the movie A Few Good Men, because I think it's like such an important movie for modern times.
But unlike First Contact, no offense, Star Trek sucks, not shot like a TV show. Like, we can get TV court cases all the time, all week long. But these grandiose, everybody, it's not just the fate of the person in the chair that's on trial here, but everyone involved.
There's like 8 of those this year, though.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're like Dead Man
We just talked about A
Walking.
Time to Kill.
Yeah, A Time to Kill. And then they all have, so many of them do this thing where there is some third act revelation that puts a different light on
Changes
everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
The greatest one of all time that we're talking about, My Cousin Vinny.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. The revelation of the third act there is women are smart and can know about cars.
Yeah.
The revelation there is in times of like distress, call to Marissa Tomei.
Yes.
Like
I always do.
Yeah.
It's a bullshit question.
That was good. I know your next voicemail.
This is Marissa Tomei. Leave your bullshit question.
And in Primal Fear, is there a theme park ride that Edward Norton finger blasts and then sniffs?
No, you're thinking of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, voting time. Your number 9 seed, Primal Fear, or your number 56 seed, Beavis and Butthead Do America, Greg?
Primal Fear for me.
Beavis and Butthead Do America is 10 times better than we deserve it to be.
I agree with that.
Primal Fear.
Primal Fear moves on. All right, your last battle before we take the quickest of breaks. Your 24th seed. This one hurts. This one is the first one that really hurts me.
Just 24 seeds in general?
I hate 24 seeds.
Yeah.
24 seed Cable Guy, a movie I still quote too often, up against your 44th seed movie that it feels like sometimes only I love, The Frighteners.
Oh.
Ryan, do you also only love The Frighteners?
I am the only one that does.
Nice.
Greg, do you love The Frighteners only?
I have never seen The Frighteners.
A Peter Jackson joint?
As there's a proud tradition here, the pre-watch before we get to the season, and it was just always a couple too low in the pre-watch rotation.
Probably
for me
because
to
it had
watch.
scary ghosts in it.
Well, it looks a little scary, the cover of it, I have to say. So, and it was called The Frighteners.
That's true.
Yeah, so I was like,
it's about people who scare me. Why would I watch this?
I don't know. I think I'll watch a documentary about Muhammad Ali.
Mike, can we just have a minute? Like,
yes,
we can record it if you want to
Sidebar.
talk about it. But like, what? I honestly don't know what to do here. The better movie, I don't know. The more 96 movie, I don't know. I think that The Cable Guy has more of a social thumbprint.
Yes.
But that might be not for great reasons, because it was the first $20 million paycheck that ruined Hollywood.
it does feel like it had a resurgence because when it came out, people were like, "Ooh, no, this isn't."
Aren't you
he's not talking
interested
up
to
his
get
butt."
another peek at it? I'm so interested to look at this thing again because it's like
I
been
loved it.
completely like preserved. You know, we don't think about it much anymore, and so it feels
Yeah.
like it's ossified in a way, and so we get to go see what the fossil is.
The weird thing too is that of all the comedians, all the underground comedians that like, you know, you got to be hip to understand, like they're always before their time or ahead of their time rather, and people don't get it until years later, is Ben Stiller. Like
Yeah.
the stock on the Ben Stiller show has been silently crawling up forever. And this was his first like, I'm gonna make a movie. I'm gonna write, probably write, and then direct a movie. And yeah, like it came out and it flopped because it was not Ace Ventura or Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yeah.
It was different.
And people get so uncomfortable when they know they're watching a comedy, but they're not exactly sure what the tone means.
And the rest of the guests in the theater, if I may call them that, are confused. So then you're like, you start to get angry.
Yeah,
like,
do we not like this?
But The Frighteners, I'd say, is like a spiritual successor to Ghostbusters, the original, of like, it is scary and it is funny. It's Michael J. Fox at the height of his Spin City charisma. I know that
Which
sounds
I don't
like
say lightly.
an insult now, but I loved Spin City as a kid. Again, I didn't have cable. I watched weird shows for a kid. The Frighteners fucking rules, man. And I remember it being funny and legit terrifying. The end act is scary.
Yes, the end act is fucked, like because it's kind of a comedy up until the last act, just like the movie Danny Boyle's movie Sunshine. But do you remember the twist on it, Mike, from Ghostbusters to the Frighteners?
Oh, yeah. Are we allowed to spoil that here?
Yeah, who cares?
That he is the Ghostbuster and the ghost. He can see dead people, and he's friends with them and gets them to haunt houses, and then makes
they're
people
all
pay
on the
money
take
to get. And it's yeah. So he's a dirtbag. It's great.
Yeah, which is against type for Michael J. Fox, unless you
Yeah.
count Family Ties, where he played a
The
Republican.
biggest dirtbag.
I don't know,
wanna
Mike.
do this.
Maybe this is like in the moment we decide. I poof. I
So
feel like
you-
Greg's
I
decided.
Isn't there somebody you forgot to ask?
I shouldn't go to you first, Ryan. Then let's start with Greg. Greg,
Cable guy. Get her done.
I think it's the cable guy.
Yeah, right.
the cable.
I'm sorry.
That's
Mikey.
what I mean.
Move
Honestly,
on.
that is why to this day I know that there were no utensils in medieval times.
Yes.
Hence, there are no utensils at medieval times. Like we remember that today because of that movie.
It's also every time that you guys hook up with a girl and you're telling me about it, I say to you, okay, and then next time you pay.
And that's why every time we have chicken, I put the skin on my face and go, "Silence of the lambs."
That's why every time I walk by a
Late
window,
grade
I stick
Hannibal
my-
Lecter.
stick my nipple right on the window and say, "Oh, Billy."
Oh, really? Do we need to watch the cable guy?
Yeah,
I think
dude.
we
Right.
probably need to watch the
We
Cable
gotta
Guy
vote
moves
it
on.
forward.
And now it is break time. When we come back, more battles. We are back. And your 9th battle of your first round, your 4th seed is Mission: Impossible #1. Up against your 61st seed, Emma. That bow and arrow huntress Gwyneth Paltrow herself.
Let's use this moment to talk about, first of all, one of the coolest movie posters of all time.
Yeah.
Just profile, big nose, like above the planet. Love that one. Emma is, if you guys toured a video store or if you look back at movie posters from this time, Emma is her with a bow and arrow, completely white background, all quotes about the movie. This was
Yeah.
Miramax, and then other people started taking it. Is that like the art of movie posters is not worth the time of showing your star and quotes from critics.
Yeah.
And it was fucking shitting on an entire art form.
This poster
But-
was shitting on an art form.
She looks so pretty.
Yes.
Would you say that decision, Ryan, was clueless?
Wait, is that also based on Emma?
It's also.
I think Emma's based on Clueless.
Yeah, Jane Austen saw Clueless and she was like, "I just came up with the best idea.
What if this
For a
was in
story.
olden times?
Get me Paul Rudd."
Jane Austen, always keeping it weird. Emma has a shockingly small footprint, I think, in today's times with the fact that it's Austen and Paltrow. And we've had Emma with Furiosa.
Natalia Joy,
Yes, thank you.
which was fine.
And
We all walked away going, that was a movie we watched. It was all right.
What was the other one, Mike?
Mission Impossible 1. Blue gum, red gum. You put them together, they're gonna explode, you guys.
This, in a weird way, this launches the franchise, but it's also completely different.
It is
than all the rest of them.
It's Mike's least favorite director, Brian De Palma, but this is another movie who, like, I think its stock has gone up a lot. I think that
it rules.
It wasn't what we were expecting, and then
it's what we deserve.
And then we got 2 with Wu, and then we got 3 with Abrams, and then 4 is when it became the franchise. So that's 3 wildly different movies, and then the franchise that we know with Fallout, Ghost Recon. Cannot remember.
And it's been consistent.
Yes, Christopher McQuarrie. It's
been consistent since then, but this is just a movie that like has the same name and the same actors, but it's like a completely different vibe. I want to see it though. I want to crack that open and see what's there.
I think it was too talky. I think that it was too overly complicated, but I think that if you go in with like, that's kind of the fun part. I don't understand it, but look how they're trying, look how serious they're trying to make it. I think it's kind of fun. And knowing De Palma, it's probably, like making fun of it, not being, it's not being serious.
I disliked it as a kid. And then I recently rewatched it. I was on a vacation where I was watching a movie in every country I was in, brag. And so in Prague, I watched Mission Impossible instead of going out and enjoying Prague. And yeah, this movie rules. And people make fun of Jon Voight for Anaconda. They should make fun of Jon Voight for most of his roles. And he is Jon Voight
and his beliefs.
Fuck out of this movie.
I make fun
and
of
his fatherhood.
Yeah. Honestly, the things he has said publicly are the things to make fun of Jon Voight for.
All I'm saying is Anaconda is fine. Let's make fun of him in this movie too.
Yeah, I kind of think that this is a staple. I'm not saying it can beat anything, but as far as 96 goes, as far as like the blockbusters go,
we have to.
And this does move 2 Tom Cruise movies into the second round. If we were to kick out Emma right now,
which I don't know, that's what I'm calling for. I'm going to file a motion. I'm filing
File
it.
your motion.
It's filed.
And your vote is?
I say Mission Impossible.
Ryan?
As do I.
Mission Impossible moves on. Your 10th battle is, oh, God. No matter who wins, we all lose. 29th seed, Jingle All the Way, going against 36th seed, The Nutty Professor.
No. Why'd this happen? This is so upsetting. Okay, we have next round is real. Is the real time anyway.
Don't worry.
What does it matter? I think it's Nutty Professor. I don't want to spend a ton of time on these 2 movies.
I mean, I think that, first of all, fuck the world. Fuck Letterboxd for putting Jingle All the Way this high. You guys think you're funny? Like, do you think it's cool to vote for it? So, like, make it so popular that we use Letterboxd to make this list.
It jingled all the way into our bracket, and now it's messing with
It's
things.
higher than The Nutty Professor. Like, this will be an upset if Eddie Murphy wins.
That's crazy. Because I also used to own The Nutty Professor.
Nutty Professor, one of the first Eddie Murphy has all the roles.
Yeah. This was long after Coming to America, but I think this is the time that the whole family could go see it, which was a really big deal.
Yeah.
Put Eddie Murphy on the family map, revitalized his career, like we talked about in the Beverly Hills Cop episode, where he did that 10 times in his career. And it did start the thing with all the makeup. I don't know if that's a pro or a con,
because it's like he's a fat person, and then he takes a potion and it makes him not fat anymore.
Right.
That's going to be so awful in terms of its jokes.
But no, the thin guy, Buddy Love, is awful.
Buddy Love.
Yeah.
And Sherman Klump is wonderful. I think this is a legitimately okay movie.
That does happen. If you go from very fat to very thin, that's just
you become a monster.
You become a bad person. That's just that. Yeah, it breaks your brain, right?
That's why I gained back all the weight.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
that's why
so
you owe it
better
to everybody
buddy.
else. Get chubby again. We're in this together.
All right. Voting
But-
time.
Real quick, can you imagine doing a 90-minute movie of the year episode on Jingle All the Way?
How about this?
It's Sinbad versus Schwarzenegger, and they're all about Ultraman or whatever that doll is.
Jake Lloyd plays the son, star of Star Wars Episode 1 of Phantom Menace. Is it a Phantom Menace?
I think it's the Phantom Menace.
It's just the one, right?
Right, because it's the Phantom Menace is the pretend war that he's starting. Very clever,
Rag
Emperor
the dog.
Palpatine. We see what you're doing. I'm gonna go
All right.
nutting. I'm gonna go nutting
You're gonna
professor,
nut all
Mike.
over that professor, Greg.
Nutting professor for me.
This is, believe it or not, even though it's the Nutty Professor, the slam dunk of the first round so far.
I'm also confusing Nutty Professor with Dr. Doolittle.
No, this one's good.
No, I was thinking Flubber.
Flubber is Robin Williams. Norbit is Eddie Murphy's. That's when the fat suit peaked.
Norbit.
And then Martin, when I could do that, and made Big Mama's House.
I think Norbit is how Australians say "oh no."
Norbert.
Your 11th battle, your 13th seed. Oh, come on. Is Happy Gilmore, a much celebrated movie, I think, around these parts, versus your 52nd seed, Secrets and Lies.
Okay.
Should we let Greg cook for a second?
I have
Greg,
seen Secrets and Lies. Secrets and Lies is so good. It is so good. It's a very human scale movie. It's about a woman whose adoptive parents die, and she decides that she wants to figure out who her birth mother is. And she's black, and it turns out her birth mother is white, which is what everybody will tell you is what this movie is about. But that's like so incidental to what this movie is about, because it's about what the coming together of her and that family is like, and the way that like the things that drive us apart and make us like sort of flee from each other. The being apart from each other makes us more miserable. And if we could just face up to the things that make us want to run from each other and face them down, that we are a lot stronger together and we're a lot happier together, even though everybody's so messed up.
Honestly, I don't even know if you were talking about Secrets and Lies or Happy Gilmore right there.
It's so good. I don't like when I think of 96, I'm not like, oh yeah, that was the time of Secrets and Lies. But you watch the movie and you're like, well, that's kind of almost as good as a movie can be.
I will say this. I don't think Secrets and Lies is still talked about, but Mike Lee is, I think, sort of a big deal in certain circles, and it's in large part because of this movie. I don't know if it's his launching pad, but like it's his first, I think, big claim to fame. And I also sort of remember that this was the Oscar year. We haven't even talked about the Best Picture, and I honestly don't know if we're going to, but this is the year where there was like 10 movies nominated for awards that everybody was like, what the fuck? What is this movie? Secrets and Lies was definitely one of those movies. And then people went out and watched it. And I know everybody wants to see an Oscar ceremony where Transformers is nominated for 14 awards. But also, if Secrets and Lies is nominated for 5, and then the box office doubles the next weekend, that's the actual point of the Oscars. So
Yes.
I do think there was a ripple effect. Happy Gilmore, if this was Secrets and Lies versus Billy Madison, we would have a conversation. But it's not that.
I knew that within the minute. I was like, well, it's much beloved around these parts. I saw the faces, and both your eyes just spelled out Billy Madison somehow. I like Happy Gilmore. It might be they're too interconnected. It was an always double rental numerous times. You always rent Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. So like the stink of one and glory of the other just always creates an umbrella around the two, just like
Tommy Boy Black
Tommy
Sheep.
Boy
just
Black
like
Sheep.
Tommy Boy Black Sheep.
Or-
Thank you.
1996 Black Sheep, if I'm not wrong, right?
Encino Man Biodome.
Encino Man Biodome.
Broken Arrow
To
Face
you
Off.
as well,
No.
my friend.
Encino Man Biodome to you. In the army
Yeah,
now,
I
and
just-
son-in-law to you as well.
I don't know if we've brought this up yet, but it's something that I never want to bring up, but it always does come up on these season premiere episodes of like thinking about doing a show about the movie. And does that
Right.
make you lean one way or another? And what would a Happy Gilmore show be?
We'd rhyme a lot. We would just shoot
That-
McGavin at each other as long as
I
possible.
have to say, that's the only part of it that gives me pause. I wonder if we're going to be interesting about that movie.
Happy Gilmore or Secrets and Lies?
Happy Gilmore. I think we'll be super interesting about Secrets and Lies. I think there's a lot to get into with that. And
It's just Mike as a host. And in that show, he's going to have a drop pad. And everything we say is going to be secret, lie, secret, lie, secret.
toilet flush sound.
Skadoosh.
Let's vote and probably have our biggest upset so far. Your 13th seed, Happy Gilmore. Your 52nd seed, Secrets and Lies, Greg.
I can't believe you're thinking right now.
Yeah, I felt
Well,
like it was clear
okay.
to all of us.
Secrets. I say Secrets and Lies.
It's Secrets and Lies.
That's what I felt
Okay.
was clear to all
Yeah.
of us. Yeah.
Okay.
I just may.
Wait.
Secrets and Lies.
You eat
moves
shit
on.
for breakfast?
Every morning. Your 12th battle is your 20th seed, The Rock, versus your 45th seed, The People versus Larry Flint.
Okay.
We just did one of his other movies.
Amadeus.
Amadeus. Oh my gosh. This season kind of has Amadeus threads running through
It
it.
does. And I think that the 20th seed Mike is now pronounced Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that you dropped it. The Scorpion King
Again, I feel like that I'm completely off base with the rest of the world as far as this year goes. But for the People versus Larry Flint to be the 45th seed
Yeah.
is
Feels
baffling
so
to me.
low.
Yeah.
I think I remember liking The Rock.
The Rock's cool.
I know that like it has come up in measure since then.
You know what
because
it's got?
like a parody of action movies as much as it is an action movie.
And it's got a complicated villain. I feel like there weren't a ton of those back in 96.
Well, Greg, if you're gonna cast Ed Harris, I mean,
And people are like, oh, if you squint, Sean Connery actually is James Bond in that movie too. And that's made the internet really
I love that shit. Remember the guys when the internet first started?
Yeah.
That's all it was shit like that.
Everything was a dream. I remember reading Word Up magazine.
Do you remember when
Let him
Greg
cook.
first got on the internet and started writing that? And he was like, "This is genius." I loved back then People versus Larry Flint. I don't know. There's been a lot of time that has happened since then. You know, part of Larry Flint is that he's an awful person, but you should be allowed to be awful.
You should be able to be awful without being shot, right?
In the 30 years that has gone by, he's going to look a lot more awful. The Rock is on Criterion. I will give it that.
That's wild.
But I love this movie so much that it's hard for me to talk about.
There's
The
a
Rock.
car chase that's a Lamborghini versus a Hummer. That's kind of fun. That's a fun car chase.
And the car chase is notorious because it has every trope. Like they hit a fruit stand. There's the guys walking across the street with a big window. It has every single joke.
And
like
people
that.
were wondering if it's a parody of an action movie.
But honestly, I think that it is Rocky because there's few and far. Those scenes are few and far between. Like
Right.
it's like they picked out 4 random scenes to sort of make fun of it instead of being hot
Not
shots or
yeah.
face off.
You know what it feels like? When you worked not at Blockbuster, but when you worked at your other video store, you kind of got to like choose what to put on, right?
Uh-huh.
The Rock feels like the kind of movie you put on in the video store.
Yeah.
Like,
Second screen it.
yeah, there's like a couple of cool scenes, and then there's just like the time in between those couple of cool scenes. But there are neat action scenes.
And like you got to get like the Bruckheimers were sort of the Marvel universe, the MCU of that time, right? Like they would go from, originally it was like Top Gun and Footloose, but then in this time to go from Bad Boys to The Rock to Con Air, like it was these huge casts, and you would just go and it like the Bruckheimer producers. What was it? What was the other guy? Bruckheimer and it's a partnership, but the Bruckheimer movies, it was one of those times where the producers overwhelmed the director. Like
Right.
nobody. It's like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like you think of it as a Bruckheimer movie over a Simon West movie or whoever makes the movie. I think this was Michael Bay. Still, it's The Rock.
That was your vote?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's The Rock, so who
I
cares?
thought your
Yeah,
vote
that was
I was like, whoa.
An abrupt change of momentum.
Jay Bruckheimer's just outside with a sniper rifle on Ryan, and he saw it.
Because what's the other one, Mike?
People versus Larry Flint.
Yeah, to me that feels like because that would
It's
be
a Milosh.
Yeah, it'd be more rewarding because we just did Amadeus.
All right, voting time. Ryan.
PLF.
PLF.
Same.
Greg.
Same.
PLF moves on. Next up is your 5th seed Independence Day versus your 60th seed The Crucible.
Wow, the
Which I feel
slammy.
used to get a lot of play.
This feels like the slammiest of D's, Ryan.
Because of some of my previous jobs that I don't really talk about, I have seen this Crucible movie dozens of times.
Oh yeah.
I remember it being so advertised and then completely fizzling. And as a movie watcher, it's still a little hard for me to think about it as a movie. It's just so it's so nervous about the source material that it's not a film to play in that like there's 3 cameras and they just let the actors go, but it's not that as well.
Yeah.
And I think ID4 is just fucking dope.
Yeah. Hell yeah. As like a series of images, a series of speeches,
And as like
part of pop culture.
being there at that time, it was a
Yeah.
phenomenon.
Yes. Impossibly
man.
96.
Welcome to Earth.
So let's just say it moves on.
Let's do it.
Have you guys ever seen or know anyone who has ever seen the Independence Day 2?
Not a soul.
Did you forget that existed?
You could see that, right, Ryan? You could see me be like, "Is that? Wait, what?
Is that a bit?
Is that a thing? Wow!"
All right. Up
Erased
next,
from the
your
old
14th
memory.
battle. 28th seed Deadman versus your 37th seed James and the Giant Peach, a movie I used to own.
It's a pretty good one. Where do you want to start?
I don't know what Deadman is, so right now for a second, James and the Giant Peach is not Tim Burton, but definitely somebody was like, I could do that
I've seen
style.
those.
It's Selleck.
Dope claymation. It's Selleck. It rules. It looks creepy. Ignore the songs. It feels somebody other than Selleck said you have to have songs, and they went fine. And I will point my middle finger at having the most boring songs ever. But I watched the shit out of this as a kid. I loved it.
I mean, the songs are like every, maybe not act, but every like plot point. It's like, this is a song. I'm singing what you just saw, which is the lyrics now. This movie looks fantastic. The only people I would advise against watching James and the Giant Peach are people that are like me who are freaked out by dirty peaches, because by the time this movie is over, that peach is dirty.
Yeah.
It's a well-traveled peach.
You would not want to eat that peach for hours, but they do.
I'd take a bite. If Nicolas Cage told me to, I would take a bite of it. Dead Man is a black and white Western directed by Jim Jarmusch, starring one Johnny Depp.
Jack Sparrow. Yes, this is another one. I just know the poster.
Mm-hmm. Can you do it for us real quick? Listeners won't. That's perfect. Listeners, you have no idea how well he nailed that.
Yeah, he got it. Got it first try.
This is a beloved movie. This is one of those, like, I'm a hardcore film geek all the way to, like, I'm a borderline film geek. Of people who would have this shitty ass poster up in there on their walls. But like, I think James and the Giant Peach is also beloved.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with the younger generations. Mike, you said you had it at the house. Was it like it was like a watch and rewatch, right?
Oh, regular rotation for
and
sure.
Yet, can you name me a single song?
A sad little boy who's only friends with bugs. Did I relate? Who knows?
A sad little boy who's only friends
we
with
know,
bugs.
James. We were just watching the movie. We saw it.
A peach with all of the bugs.
But I love Jim Jarmusch based on Patterson and not based on The Dead Don't Die.
I know.
So
that was a much maligned movie.
That movie sucks, man.
What was
that movie betrays the audience significantly, I think. There's a moment in that movie where you're just like, I feel so fucking done. This feels like the laziest thing you could possibly think to do.
Yeah, I feel like that he's always about to hit that mainstream level, but like sort of doesn't want to. And then we'll do stuff like The Dead Don't Die. And then, so this is not for your fans or for mainstream audiences. And then he's like set back, like he's thrown down a couple of rungs of the Hollywood ladder. Patterson is awesome.
Fear of success?
Or just like not understanding what people want.
Yeah.
So when he cares.
When he tries.
Right.
It's wrong. But Patterson is not for many, and it's so good.
What's the vampire one? Do you remember that one?
The Suckers Don't Suck. No, I didn't
Let
see
the
it
right
because of
one
how
in.
bad The Dead Don't Die were.
No, not Let the Right One In. It is, of course, Only Lovers Left Alive. Broken Flowers with Bill Murray. I'm going through real quick. Coffee and Cigarettes. Like, it's a long career. And then, like, the early stuff. I'm blanking here, guys. Help me out. Mystery Train. Down by Law is what I was thinking of. Down by Law, that's a, like, independent classic. But I don't know. I think that Dead Man could definitely move in based on interestingness alone if it was against Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
Greg, where are you leaning? James and the Giant Peach versus Dead Man.
Yeah, that just like feels like such a bigger movie. My recollection of '96, that feels like that has a huge place in it, and I don't know. I think it's more of a '96 season with it in there.
With
agreed,
James and the Giant Peach.
All right, James moves on. Your 15th battle, your number 12 seed Twister. Whoa, that's zeitgeisty now. Versus your 53rd seed, the First Wives Club.
Where's 2024 is the First Wives Clubs?
Clubs. And then they're playing golf, right? These things write themselves, but we will do it if you pay us money.
It does feel like, having recently watched as an adult the First Wives Club in the last year, it felt like it wrote itself. What a hacky, trashy piece of shit. I hate it.
Was that the original though? That now is like a very popular genre. We get 6 a year of.
Yeah.
All right, let's sign like 4 ladies of a certain age.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna party. I think this.
And
was
they're
the
going to be
kickoff
too
movie.
much. They're going to be just the absolute top of too much.
There's this thing where like it was bad script writing where like Diane Keaton won't sing you don't know me.
The only thing anybody remembers.
But they also barely sing it. Like by the time she'll do it, they didn't build up enough that only once was she like, I don't want to do that. So by the time the big triumphant, I was like, this doesn't make sense why this is the big triumphant thing.
We haven't talked about yet how in 96, if you were going to have a big budget movie, you had to have all of the actors choreographed singing a song and dancing, and it had to be in the trailer. It was the center of the trailer.
Yes. Up against Twister, which is relevant.
I liked Twister before Twisters came out. I think it's
We
a
all
cool
did.
movie.
I have to say, Twister has like so many ridiculous elements, but it also goes really hard in a lot of other
row of
ways.
actors.
Yeah, the effects, like it again, we say this a lot, but like they know the limitations of the special effects, so it looks pretty okay. Bonkers ideas in it, like in terms of like what would save you in the event of a twister, like feels like that stuff's not very well thought out.
It's just Captain America's shield, right?
Yeah, you pick up a piece of a styrofoam.
You hold
and
on
it in front
really
of you.
hard with your arms. It's okay
Yeah.
that a truck just got lifted up.
Or if you just spin the other direction.
It sucks the roof
Superman
off of
rules.
something, but then you just hang on to it. But the score is out of sight. Helen Hunt is amazing in it. It's the elements of it that are stupid are actually kind of fun in their own way.
I mean, it kicked off that summer. We didn't know that ID4 was coming.
Absolute popcorn movie.
And it's one of those, this is what I love about going back in the past, is this thing that I don't know if it happens anymore. Or if it does happen, those character actors aren't famous enough yet for me to recognize them.
Yeah.
But you watch a movie like Twister and you're like, oh, I know the 18th billed person in this movie.
Yes.
Like Todd Field, the piano player from Eyes Wide Shut, the director of Tar, is one of the people.
What?
PSH.
The guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Cameron, and then of course also in Succession.
Yeah, I think he's from Succession now.
Yeah.
And Spin City.
And
Yeah,
of course,
he is.
Spin City, Mike. Of course,
96, baby. Spin
bringing
City's
you
the
in.
house.
Twister
All
would
right.
be a fun show in a lot of ways.
Biggest problem with Twister, it does not star Maura Tierney like Twisters does. So
Oh man,
That is a
put
big
Mara Tierney in your movie. It's easy. Liar, liar, figured it out, and that's the truth.
Let's move Twister on. Suck it, First Wives Club. I did finally realize it's not about presidents' wives last year.
I guess the truth is we're still all in the First Wives Club, so maybe we just don't understand.
yeah, once we get out of this shit we're in.
Your, hate to say it, last battle of this episode, 16.
What?
I know.
You can't do this to us or the listeners, Mike.
This one's hard and feels so 96, and it's a travesty both of these won't be in. I hate it. I hate you. This whole thing is bunk. Your 21st seed, The Craft, versus your rudely low, insultingly low 44th seed, That Thing You Do.
Oh wow,
I
this
told you one
is
sucks.
okay.
This might be the most 96 battle,
We-
despite the fact that one of them takes place in 1963.
We have to get serious then, and we have to say some true things, and we have to say some hard things. Okay, because this fight has come a little early. The Craft is a so-so movie.
Oh, he's laying it down.
We were kids, and so we were like, it's about witchcraft. These girls are so pretty. Obviously, this is a good movie. It's pretty dumb.
Can I tell you my fondest memory of The Craft?
Okay.
Yes.
If anybody was looking for it in the video store that I worked at, if they was like, do you know where The Craft is? Do you know what I would say?
What would you say, Ryan?
Which movie? And they say The
Which
Craft.
movie, yeah.
And then I would say which movie, and that would go on for hours because this was a mom and pop video store. And
Yeah.
you could do whatever
You
you
do whatever
want.
you want. Yeah.
Trap you in my hell now.
I think that we have to go to Mike on this one because I will say that the stock on The Craft has risen a lot, but I do agree with Greg for no reason.
It's
Yeah.
there was a remake.
I Faruza balk at the quality of this movie.
Okay, I do want to hear more of those, so that makes me want to vote for The Craft. It's very 96 and who's in it. women had powers, goths were cool, Mr. We Are the Weirdos.
Yeah.
You sound like somebody who's like, the year was 1996. Women had powers. Goths were cool.
But that thing you do was an annual rewatch for so much of my life. I quote it all the time. I love Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
Liv Tyler?
You love the secondary band of the fake band of this movie.
Yeah.
I think that, Greg, we might be screwed. Like, Mike could impassion us out of this if The Craft came up against any other movie. But That Thing You Do, I already know, is one of his favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. It's two Mike picks got pushed into one door at the same time.
For me, That Thing You Do as like the 42nd seed, that's ridiculous.
Banana.
Greg's personal house of seeds, I would have seeded this much higher.
Liv Tyler, Tom Hanks, of course.
Yes.
Shades, who we all thought would be big, and then he did Dead Man on Campus and never made a movie again.
Tom Everett Scott, who ended up marrying Emma Stone in La La Land. It was not Ryan Gosling.
Yes, and who Jonah Hexed his face, and that Greg was happy because he doesn't like Tom Everett Scott. No, I was confusing him with John Schnecht.
Jonathan Shake was Jonah Hex on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. No, Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. You got Ethan Embry as the bass player. You got
fucking Ethan Embry.
It's a great movie.
Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah,
it's got it all. I think we're in agreement here.
And I've said this before on this show when we weren't talking about That Thing You Do. I bring it up. One of the greatest scenes of all time is them on the radio for the first time. That's fucking movie making. When they it's like, I don't know if it's a wonder, but like they go through the town finding each
turning
other.
all the radios on and finding each other. A movie so powerful it created a real record label. Playtone Records is real now. Come on. That Thing You Do moves on, which concludes part 1 of the first episode of.
I wonder, Mike, if kicking The Craft out is the most egregious thing we did.
That's the thing. Like when I go home and have to face my wife. That's the thing that like she's like, so is The Craft one of the movies? Be like, no, because the guys were like, we don't like The Craft.
It's a movie about girls versus a movie about boys, and the boys movie won.
No.
Liv Tyler's the heart and soul.
Yes,
of That Thing You Do.
A film of 1996.
All right, very excited for the first part of these battles. A lot of them hurt. Not as many as you would thought. We're going to come back next week with the rest of the battles and determine who the final 16 are that we will actually watch. Ryan, Greg, a pleasure being here with you in this role, and I hope to honor the throne and honor you as my panelists.
Oh, and you did, of course. Is that what I said?
That's what Mike says every time he's going to go to the bathroom. He's like, I hope to honor the throne.
And listeners, keep watching those movies.